So thanks for tuning in. Um, I decided I'm gonna kick off this concept that I'm calling "Let's Grow to Lunch," where where basically a few days a week I'm gonna jump on at 12 noon and give you all some nuggets, some information that you can, if so, you can further begin to grow in your understanding of authentic dialogue and how it may be a benefit to you and your relationships. So it's something I'm passionate about in terms of authentic dialogue. It's something I've been very passionate about for years. And, I wanted to tell you, why dialogue and why I'm passionate about it. And also I want to share with you, one key. So the reason why, I'm passionate about dialogue is because, well, and more specifically, authentic dialogue is because, when I learned about it as a communication framework, um, I was actually in my doctoral studies when I learned about it. And I saw it as a solution to a lot of the problems that were plaguing, people, relationships, society, etc. Is one of the foundational solutions. And it's also rooted, and it's a part of the concept of systems thinking, which is a language and tools and resources for understanding the underlying root causes of our social ills. So when I learned that dialogue was the communication framework for systems thinking, it was something that I began to wrap my mind around and really take an interest in learning, not only in that class, but also I began self-studying as well, and read several books and other resources, papers, etc. about it, and began teaching it. My first iteration of teaching it was back in 2014 when I started a Facebook group called Race Haven, Solutions Focused Dialogue about Race Relations in America. And when I started Race Haven, that group eventually grew to debates, but I moderated the group and tried to always steer folks to, having dialogues, authentic dialogues, and started introducing them to the concept little by little. And I began to see people really opening up in their communication, methodologies began to change and their minds began to open. It was really wonderful, a really wonderful thing back in 2014. And I eventually went on to do the same thing through the format of a podcast called Race Haven, and it's still out there if anyone's interested. Um, Race Haven, Solutions Focused Dialogue about Race Relations in America. And from that work, I began to get asked to go out to companies and organizations to train on dialogue. So I added that as one of the things in my tool belt that I did sporadically over the years. And it's something I get great joy from doing. And recently, I've been making some announcements to all of you that I'm leaning in to that dialogue work a little bit more. I also was able to, before I go into that, I also was able to use it, and it was also integrated into self-directed education through the Agile Learning Center network, which I am a member of. And when I had my school grow, we were a member of, and we use a lot of the same principles that were embedded in the communication framework that Agile Learning Centers teach to their young people. So I've been able to kind of take all those experiences and all those experiences and kind of mold them into what I call Grow Dialogue. And the processes that I now teach to not just corporations, organizations, and schools, but also to couples and partners and families as well. So that's the culmination of kind of how I got here and why dialogue, just because, again, I believe it is a communication framework that can help everyone get to the root cause of any disconnect, of any, crossing of communication or signals. Much videos is just jump on and give you all some nuggets that you can take with you and continue to evolve your understanding of it. So with that being said, I also want to answer your questions. So as I'm talking, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to chime in. And hello, Lynn. Thanks for joining. Hello. Let's see on IG. I see Danger Nuke. What's good? And HOG Personal Care. What's good? Thanks for joining. Reimagined Learning was good. It's good to see all of you here. So with that being said, that's why dialogue. And one of the most important things that I teach when I'm sharing dialogue with folks is that when you're learning dialogue isn't and you want to start implementing it, it's hard to do if the other person on the other end of that conversation hasn't opted in as well. So it's like the first key, like the first thing that you have to do when you start adapting this communication framework is making sure the person you're communicating with has opted in. Because if they haven't opted in, you're going to get really frustrated because you're taking on the role and the mindset of trying to really listen and learn and ask questions and get to the root cause of what's bothering that person. But if that person is in that debate mode energy and you're in that dialogue space, they're going to just be trying to dominate you, and they're going to just take advantage of your, you positioning yourselves and coming to the dialogue or to the discussion with the mind frame that you want to dialogue as opposed to just arguing or debating. So, the first thing is someone has to opt in. The person that you're talking to, the person that you're having a disagreement with, or you're trying to work through something with, has to opt in. I've tried this in my life. I've tried to implement this in my life. It's not even try. I have, but there was periods of times when I've tried to implement it in my life versus my life. And when I tried to implement it in my relationships without getting the person on the other end to opt in, it just never went well. I wasn't heard. That person kind of dominated the conversation. That person was in, I'm trying to win, I'm trying to get my point across, type mental space versus coming to it really trying to understand, each other's perspective and then, working towards some common ground, which is, at the heart of dialogue. So that's a key element of it. I want to keep these fairly brief and just give you some quick nuggets and see if there's any questions that pop up. At this point, I don't see any questions. I will say that there's more resources at growdialogue.com, and I will probably, what's today, Thursday? I'll probably jump back on tomorrow at noon to get a little deeper into some of the key tenets of authentic dialogue. So again, I'm going to do this probably about 3 times a week, maybe more, but at least 3 times a week, I'll be jumping on to give for these Let's Grow to Lunches. So if you like it, make sure you follow me closely. Make sure you like my page at I Go to Grow. And I'll talk to you soon. Until next time, I love y'all. Peace.